His third appearance for the club. Experienced defender Alexander Moroshkin is also back in the team in their other change. Both sets of players are now making their final preparations. One of them, the Astana number 9, Jeffrey Charles, is saying a final prayer as the Chelsea players break from their huddle and try and keep warm, Darren Ambrose, ahead of this game.
Yeah, it's awfully cold, you can tell. You can tell there's a lot of gloves out there, we just mentioned that. There's a lot of undershirts. But look, 5-10 minutes into the game, that's when you get warm, and that's when you get into the game.
Referee for the night is Sven Jablonski, German, who refereed the recent Der Klassiker between Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, and it's he who gets this game underway with Chelsea in predominantly black, attacking the goal away to the right in this first half. Astana in bright yellow, attacking the goal away to the left. Almaty is the same distance from London as New York City, Central Africa, and it's just a few hundred miles shy of the North Pole. So 3,500 miles from home, Chelsea make their debut in ice-cold Kazakhstan. What kind of game can we expect? Will it be that the Chelsea players trying to acclimatise, so to speak, in terms of the pitch? Because I suspect the pitch will be relatively hard. Whether it looks to me like it's dragging slightly.
Yeah, it does look to be dragging slightly, and yes, what you expect is Astana to try and start sharp, start bright, take it to Chelsea, and Chelsea just to be the better side, which they are. And I think they've scored, I think, 6 goals in the opening 30 minutes in the last 4 European games. So if Chelsea can start as bright as that, it will be comfortable.
They're trying to move the ball forward now. Neto has it midway inside the Astana half, away to the right. It's then played back into his own half by Raksaki, and it's now with the captain for the night, Axel Disasi, who's the only Chelsea player, in fact he's the only player amongst the 2 squads who is a yellow card away from a suspension. So if he did pick up a yellow card in this game, he would miss Chelsea's final league stage match, which is at home to Shamrock Rovers next week. Chelsea just having to calmly work their way through that midfield. It's towards this near side. Neto hugging the touchline just a couple of yards in, being monitored very closely by Jan Vorogovsky. Many of those Astana players will be unfamiliar names. Moroshkin and Tomasov are probably the best known if you cover European football and watch it closely. Tomasov is actually the captain of the team, and even though their season is finished, this year he's scored 22 goals for his club. Chelsea have it over on the far side. It's now played infield towards Raksaki. Tried to play it further forward to Chukwuemeka. The referee has blown his whistle and Chelsea will win a free kick.
Yeah, clear free kick. Chelsea have started really well. They're keeping possession fantastically. Raksaki showing some good footwork in the middle there. Chukwuemeka as well with a lovely turn and a clear foul. It's always interesting to see the team like FC Astana, who stopped their league campaign a little while ago, and how that can affect you. Sometimes that works for you, sometimes against you. It'll be interesting to see what kind of fitness levels they've kept hold of.
Well, the cold would certainly keep you on your toes.
Certainly would.
For one. And to the point where the goalkeeper, Sison, is wearing a beanie. You don't see that very often. I'm not sure I've ever seen it, in actual fact. Chelsea left-hand edge of the penalty area, away to our right, cutting in. 2 players to try and get around, and the eventual shot is curled in and just wide of Sison's far post by Tariq George. That was a decent effort.
Lovely effort. I thought it was actually nestling into the top corner. He cut inside onto his right foot, tried bending it, just got it a little bit far out. Didn't get enough bend, but yeah, going back to Saizan, I don't think I've ever seen a goalkeeper wear a beanie, or any player for that matter. I'm wondering if it's even in the rules that you're allowed to wear a beanie hat.
Well, if you didn't have a temperature gauge, all you have to do is look at the goalkeeper. The home goalkeeper is wearing a beanie. That's how cold it is. As Astana move down this near side, their left. Forward it goes towards Jeffrey Charles, being supported by some roars from the home fans packed into this stadium. It's gone back down this near side now with Astana, and then infield towards Maroshkin, who's one of the central defenders for Astana. It's then lifted forward down the far side, and that's a decent ball as well into Tomasov, who had two options in the middle, but sent the cross high.
Yeah, it was a big chance, actually, and I said before the game started, doing a little bit of research, TNS, they started really well, had a few opportunities onside. I think he timed that quite well. I think it might have been Tosin in the back that he made the wrong decision. In fact, I don't think he did. I just think he got the cross wrong. He did try to put it in, just overhit his cross. But a slight moment of worry there for Chelsea, how easy that was for him to get in behind.
Straight behind the Chelsea defence. 5 minutes played in Kazakhstan. Astana 0, Chelsea 0. The game being played in southeast Kazakhstan, in Almaty, which is 750 miles or so south of Astana. In fact, the reason they're doing that is because their main stadium, the Astana Arena, is being refurbished, reconstructed at the moment, and it would be the equivalent of Chelsea having to play north of John O'Groats all their home games.
I mean, that's outrageous. I'm led to believe it's colder there as well, so they've actually got away with a couple of degrees here where they're playing now. And I'm on glove watch at the moment, and I'm looking and I'm thinking Usman Kamara is the only player on the pitch not wearing gloves. And trying to work that out.
At the moment, he's trying to keep Pedro Neto from releasing the ball down the line. Chelsea have it inside their own half, away to the left, with the captain, Disasi. Short ball, and then a return pass to him, and eventually it's played all the way back by Tosin to his goalkeeper, Philip Jorgensen. Jorgensen making his 7th appearance in the UEFA Conference League this season. There's no Robert Sanchez in the squad. In fact, if some of the players in the starting 11 were unfamiliar, then most of the players on the bench are unfamiliar. Many academy players, some of whom have never even featured on the bench before, let alone played. Good work in midfield by Chelsea, particularly from Raksaki, who wins a free kick in the centre circle.
Yeah, it started a bit sloppy for me, both teams, actually. They're giving away. I think the pitch is causing a little bit of a few problems. It's holding up quite a lot. Whether there was snow on the pitch before, I don't really know. There is obviously snow, piles of snow around the outside, and it is holding up a little bit, which you have to get your passes spot on, because if you play one short across the pitch and you get caught out, you could be in heaps of trouble.
It's clear that the surface is fairly wet, because the ball is bringing up spray and it's dragging slightly. Chelsea have it now midway inside the Astana half to the right in centre field, with Raksaki to his captain. Short pass again back to him. It's key, isn't it? Everybody gets a touch of the ball early on, at least keeps moving. The difficulty is for the goalkeepers. Ball between the defenders. Neto is into the area. Left foot shot, saved by the goalkeeper, Saizan. And that's the first real sortie on goal. And it's Pedro Neto who's provided it.
Yeah, it's lovely by Pedro Neto, looking to cut in on his left foot. Perhaps chose the wrong option to try and give the goalie the eyes. He tried to give him the eyes and hit it near post, where he could have maybe perhaps bent it on into the far post. But it's a good effort, and again, Chelsea breaking them down. Any passage of play I said before, and it kind of bamboozles Astana.
Corner taken short to the near post, headed away by Astana, and then hooked further clear by Kamara. It's gone out for a throw, which is taken quickly by Chelsea on this near side. They're deep in Astana territory. Turning back towards Neto. 10 yards outside the penalty area. Play now switched to the left-hand side of the box. Further wide by Vega. George in towards Chukwuemeka, who goes down under a challenge and then is clutching his leg. The referee's blown a whistle, but not for any infringement inside the area. It's a free kick outside the penalty area.
Yeah, free kick to Astana. I didn't see anything in that. Chukwuemeka trying to get the ball. It's just played a little bit on the stretch for him, and as he stretched, I think the defender just got there first. Not seen it back yet, but yeah, I don't think there was enough in that, and then it was a good foul actually for Chelsea to give away while they were trying to break out the box.
Almost 10 minutes played. Still goalless in Almaty, but Chelsea have had two good chances. Tariq George with a curling shot just wide, and Pedro Neto forcing a save out of Sison.
You know what, watching that again, I have just seen the replay. It does seem to stamp on Chukwuemeka. Now I've seen that again. I thought he just got there first, whether there's enough in it to give a penalty, but it does look like he does stand on the left foot of Chukwuemeka.
And as Darren's speaking, the video assistant referee Tobias Reichel is in contact with Sven Jablonski for a potential penalty, but the check is over and no penalty given.
Yeah, I think it would have been a little bit harsh. Having seen it back, he got there first, Chukwuemeka, and just got his foot trodden on, but I don't think there was enough to overturn it, as I said initially.
Pedro Neto, left-footed cross from the right, headed away, brought down by Vorogovsky, and then hooked further up the line by Maroshkin. Eventually it goes out for a throw-in on the near side, which will be Chelsea's ball. Much of the play concentrated inside the Astana half, and that's not really a surprise. No, absolutely not. We said this was going to happen, but then, as you said, it's Jorgensen, it's Tosin, it's Achimpong. They're the ones that are going to feel this cold, so it's important that they squeeze up as much as possible and try and get involved in the game. Jorgensen on the ball as we speak, so they need to try and keep as warm as possible, because the one team that is getting the run around at the moment is FC Astana, so they're certainly going to be getting warm. Chelsea have it inside their own half and then play it over the halfway line. There's a fair bit of space there. It's quite an open game in terms, there's no high pressing as such, there's no close proximity football. Everybody's got a little bit of space to work in. Maybe that's because of the conditions.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Look, and the pitch, yeah, as you said, the pitch is holding up, is quite wet, and there is a lot of space to be had, and I think they're trying to be so compact, Astana, and not allow Chelsea to break them down, so they need to use the width that they're looking to do now.
And that's a superb ball out to the far side to find Tariq George just outside the area, but the flag goes up as soon as he touches the ball. We've got commentary of Victoria Plezen against Manchester United in the Europa League coming up here on TalkSport 2. Alex Crook and former Chelsea defender Scott Minto will be your commentary team for that. And then later on at 8 o'clock it's Rangers against Spurs in the Europa League on TalkSport. Coverage presented by Hugh Woosencroft, Jim Proudfoot and former England captain Stuart Pearce, the commentary team there. Myself, Mike Saul and Darren Ambrose bringing you live coverage of Chelsea's game away to Astana, the longest European trip they've ever faced, 7,000-mile round trip, and at the moment they're in control of proceedings. Chukwuemeka tries to play it across the edge of the Astana penalty area for Dewsbury Hall, but it's cleared upfield and brought down by Camara, and now on the halfway line the ball is with Vorogovsky up towards Charles, who is fouled by Tosin. It's going to be an Astana free kick about 15 yards inside the Chelsea half. Will Enzo Maresca be happy? Aside from not scoring, will he be happy with how things have gone?
Yes and no. I think maybe his team need to be a little bit sharper. There's a few sloppy passes going on. They need to be a little bit more zippy and try and keep hold of possession a little bit better, and when they get their opportunity they need to take it.
Charles from the left, it's a long searching ball. Out comes Jorgensen, who doesn't really make a great deal of contact as he tries to punch it, but luckily for him George has come back to help out in defence, and now Chelsea can move forward themselves. They lose the momentum slightly, and it's now in midfield with Raksaki, who can guide it out to this near side, where Josh Ashimpong is waiting. Much has been made of his contract situation with Chelsea of late, but it doesn't seem to be an issue now as he makes his full debut. Forward, Guiu gets away and into the penalty area, getting closer to goal and prodding it beyond the reach of Sison to give Chelsea the lead after 14 minutes. Mark Guiu with the goal, literally slaloming his way through the Astana defence to score his second goal of the season. It's Astana 0, Chelsea 1.
Yeah, we talk about passages of play causes problems. This wasn't. This was just individual brilliance. This was speed, pace, and just a decision to attack the fullback, and it was easy. He showed his pace. The defender tried to block him coming on the inside, so he said, okay, let's have a race down the outside. He'd done that, and he chose to go near post with a lovely little finish with his right foot, and it was a simple goal in the end. It was a tough goal made to look simple, Mike.
Good work by Guiu, but defensively pretty woeful from Astana, because normally you wouldn't be allowed that much time on the ball or space to run into the area.
You know what, he's had to deal with Pedro, who keeps coming in on his left foot, Pedro Neto, and I think he was trying to show him down the line. So Guiu just said, okay, let's have a race then, and he got the better of him, and in the end it was a 1v1 and a lovely finish. And it has to be said, it's been coming, and again this is another goal in the opening half an hour for Chelsea, and they'll be looking to kick on now and try to see out this game as early as possible.
So one of Chelsea's young guns fires them into the lead in Kazakhstan. So far, no issues at all with the weather conditions or the length of the journey as Chukwuemeka picks it up on the left edge of the penalty area as Chelsea look to attack once more. Eventually the throw-in will be left to be taken midway inside that half. Back down the line it goes. Chelsea look pretty composed. They're not being hurried into anything, are they?
No, they don't have to be now, of course. Being a goal up, they can take their time. They know that they're going to create chances. They know they're going to get chances. And as we spoke about before, as soon as they got in behind, they took it in Guiu. So it's been a good start by Chelsea. Good opening 17 minutes so far.
Disasi up towards the penalty area, flicked forward by Dewsbury Hall. Now Kamara away for Astana, but they just can't make the ball stick. And it's easily taken off them by Ashimpong into centre field, and now out towards the far side, the Chelsea left, attacking that goal away to the right here in Almaty. 16.5 minutes played. Chelsea have the advantage. They have a 100% record in this competition, and if they were to win here, we can't say now because this is one of the two early games that's taking place, but by the end of the night they could be guaranteed a spot in the top 8, which means they would automatically qualify for the round of 16. Camera comes away with it down the near side for Astana, then plays it infield. Chelsea getting back to defend. Two players hugging the touchline. One of them is Vorogovsky, and he sends it deep towards the far post, and an anticipation of the headed back wasn't able to be met, and it's all the way through to Philip Jorgensen in the Chelsea goal.
Yeah, I think you could have said before the Europa Conference started that they would finish top of the league table. In my opinion, I think they're clearly the best side in the tournament. But you have to go out and you have to beat what's in front of you, and they've certainly done that up to now. They're already leading away to Astana, so it's still a long way to go. But I can see a lot more goals coming from the Chelsea end.
Neto has it on this near side, Chelsea right. Heading towards the penalty area, now into it, crosses in near post, oh, and it's gone in at the near post due to the pressure of Guiu, and Astana, unable to keep it out, have fallen further behind, and this time it's Pedro Neto forcing the issue, but it's come from the right side again. It's Astana 0, Chelsea 2.
Right on cue, as I was saying, there's going to be more chances, more opportunities, more goals. And Pedro Neto causing the problems once again, and they're allowing players to go down the outside. The full-back for Astana allowing Neto to go down the outside. He's been cutting in but he utilised that perfectly. He played a lovely ball, and you got a feel for Guiu in the box, who's just missed it. And I can't see if it's come off in the end. He's landed on the floor, but it's unlucky for the defender.
It seems as if the goalkeeper Seisen pushed it out, but only succeeded in pushing it against Alexander Moroshkin. It's an own goal by the looks of things, even though Guiu was in close attendance, but Chelsea won't care. They're 2 goals to the good.
Chelsea won't care. I think Guiu will care. I think he'll be disappointed that he didn't get the last touch there, but yeah, you got a feel for Moshkin. It wasn't his fault at all. As you said, the goalie and Neto and Guiu trying to get there, and it ended up coming off the defender. Unfortunate, but 2-0 and deserved.
Astana have it though, deep inside the Chelsea half now. Away to the left is Charles on this near side. This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football, where Chelsea lead Astana by 2 goals to 0, and we're only just about to reach the 20-minute mark. I wonder whether Guiu got a touch on this when it was pushed out by Seisen. Very difficult to see. All happened so quickly. He did get a touch. I think it might have grazed his thigh en route, but to me, from the angle we saw, it looked like the goalkeeper pushed it onto his defender. Yeah,
it did look like that. And you got to question Vorogovsky down the left-hand side. I think that's twice now he's been done on the outside. One by Guiu when he scored, and then by Neto. And look, Neto's been cutting in, but he gave him a little step over and went down the line, and the pace of both of those players caused problems. And yeah, I think it just touched Guiu and then the goalkeeper, and then was it Moroshkin that ended up coming off in the end.
Chelsea come again inside the penalty area on the left this side. Chukwuemeka lays it off, left-footed shot is blocked. It was fired in by Renato Vega. The goal has been credited to Guiu, so he has 2 goals already, and we haven't even reached the midway point of the first half.
I mean, it may be taken off him eventually. It's credit to him now, but I think it's clearly Moroshkin. I don't think it was going in, but look, if I'm Guiu, I'm definitely claiming that goal for sure, and I'm claiming, as you said, my 2nd goal of the tournament.
And if he scores another goal, a legitimate goal, he definitely will be claiming it
for sure,
for a hat-trick. But yes, Chelsea in complete control here. So far, the journey worthwhile. This stadium is the home of the Kazakhstan national team. As the goalkeeper Seisen, complete with his beanie, plays it short to the left. That's the near side as we look across the penalty area to Kaja Kolovas. His ball up the line is straight to a Chelsea player, Vega. Many of those players are wearing lycra bottoms to keep their legs warm. 1 or 2 have gone for the simple shorts and socks, but some are trying to protect their muscles, as Charles inadvertently does a very clever back flick straight to an opposing player.
Absolutely, if that went to an Astana player, it would have looked a lovely pass. But look, the only opportunity they're going to get or create, I think, will come from Chelsea's problems. I think if Chelsea make a mistake, that's the only time I believe Astana could have any opportunity of scoring. It's been really, really comfortable so far for Chelsea. What we halfway through the first half, and I think people are going to be thinking, how can we get on the score sheet?
Dewsbury Hall to the edge of the area, almost gets the return ball from Chukwuemeka, who's battling away to keep it inside the box. Astana, though, defend it and then clear it up towards the halfway line. Immediately headed back down by Achimpong, and now it's with Neto. Midway inside the Astana half, going infield, gets a return pass, 25 yards out, strikes it left-footed. Goalkeeper doesn't hold on to it the first time, but scrambles across to stop Guiu from following up for his hat-trick.
Yeah, lovely play by Pedro Neto and Chukwuemeka with a nice little 1-2. They've got a good little partnership going up front, Guiu and Chukwuemeka. Guiu coming short a lot, Chukwuemeka getting in behind. This time he comes short for the 1-2 with Pedro Neto on his lovely left foot. We know he's got a great left foot, strikes it, and in the end, although he let it go in the first save, Seisen followed it up well and kept hold of it before Guiu could tap it in.
anyone who thought Chelsea might have problems here, what with the journey, the conditions, and the fact that they're playing a mix of second and you could argue third team players, well, those worries completely out the window. Chelsea coming forward yet again, and eventually a miskicked shot from Chukwuemeka, who was under pressure. Doesn't actually go out of play. It's kept in by the corner flag by Neto on this near side. Plays it to Dewsbury Hall at the angle. He gets it onto his left foot and then inadvertently hits it with his right, his standing leg. Chelsea still inside the Astana penalty area. Vega, Dewsbury Hall near the penalty spot. He seems to be stumbling on the ball at the moment. It might be the conditions that are making it difficult to get the ball from under his feet. Here he is again, Dewsbury Hall into the penalty area. Chukwuemeka won't get there, and Sison will be relieved that the ball is nowhere near him again. As Astana through Charles. Remarkable statistic for Jeffrey Charles, Darren. I mean, he's played for 10 different domestic clubs. Now that's a journeyman, but this is a real journeyman because he's played for 10 different clubs in 10 different countries.
Wow. Hope he's got his air miles.
He's played in Cyprus, Albania, North Macedonia, Serbia, Ukraine, Finland, Estonia, China, Romania, and here in Kazakhstan.
That's incredible.
I mean, how many players have played in 10 different countries?
Hey, I suppose.
And he's only 27.
You go where the football is, I guess. You go whoever wants you. And as you said, that I'm not sure I've seen a journeyman with that many, not only clubs but countries as well. Absolutely tremendous.
Well, if he has got the air miles, he'll have a platinum card, won't he? Or a gold card. I don't know what is the higher one. But his team haven't really got off the ground yet in this game.
No, they haven't, and we just see a passion of play from Chelsea. If it ended in a goal, it would have probably been the most comical goal that we'd ever seen.
Here come Chelsea again, edge of the area. George into the D, lays it to Dewsbury Hall. The ball hangs up, it's bobbling somewhat. Neto then crosses from the right to the back post. Vega's there, but it just popped up as he went to meet it, and he was unable to keep the shot down.
No, he wasn't. It was a good run, and it was a lovely ball by Pedro Neto, teasing to the back post where Vega arrived late. He's onside, but as you said, it just popped up, and that's unusual actually for what's been happening on the pitch today. It's normally been dragging or not bouncing that high because of the wet conditions. But yeah, it was a lovely teasing ball by Pedro Neto. Just got that wrong, Vega at the back post.
If you're a Chelsea fan and you're watching this, okay, it's a Kazakhstan team. I'm not being disrespectful to Kazakhstan, but they're not one of the bigger leagues in Europe. But to be able to play players that some barely feature at all in the first team and still be in this control, in these conditions, after such a long journey, that is so encouraging for Enzo Maresca and the fans of Chelsea.
Absolutely. First and foremost for Enzo Maresca, and then the supporters, as you said, and the players, that they can come out against the side that, you know, they finished second in their domestic league. And I know that we talk about they're from Kazakhstan, don't know particularly too much about their league, but they won their cup as well, so they're used to winning. 13 games at home unbeaten. So to come away with a very inexperienced team that haven't played together for a long time and be as comfortable as they are now. But again, if you're one of the young substitutes, you'll be hoping for a few more goals before half-time, because then there's a lot more opportunities to come on.
Alexa Amanovic has just been yellow carded for what to me looked like a rake down the inside of Guiu's leg.
Yeah, it didn't look nice, and Guiu looks in a fair bit of pain. And that's the one thing that Enzo Maresca won't want. He won't want to come away from Kazakhstan with injuries, particularly to players that are performing. Guiu again with 2 goals as we speak. But yeah, it looked a nasty one.
To be fair to Amanovic, he's gone to apologise to Guiu and was expressing concern. All done in the heat of the moment. But a yellow card, the first of the game, as we move towards the 29th minute. Chelsea leading 2-0 away to Astana in Almaty, which is in a different part of the country. And you're listening to us in the Europa Conference League live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. And we can emphasise the word away, because this is very much away for Chelsea. 3,500 miles away. And all their teammates, the ones that will probably feature against Brentford, are probably sat now, maybe at the training ground altogether, watching this game.
Yeah, in the warm that's not obviously what the team are in at the moment. These freezing conditions, and we spoke about it before, didn't we? Pedro Neto picking up his yellow card at the weekend. He must have been thinking, oh no, I've got to make that journey and I'm going to be playing. But he's handled it really well. He's played well, started well, an assist for the second goal as well, and all in all a pleasing opening half an hour for Enzo Maresca's Chelsea.
Very pleasing indeed. They have a throw-in on this near side. The ball has spent the majority of the half inside Astana territory. Here comes Dewsbury Hall up to the edge of the area, gets a return ball lofted forward. Now at the the right-hand angle on this near side. Astana try to come away. Eventually there's a foul on Vorogovsky by Tosin, and it's going to be an Astana free kick. If you're Astana, how do you deal with this? Gregory Babayan is the head coach of Astana. He knows this club very well. He's been in caretaker charge on several occasions, but what does he do to try and get his team in this game, because they just aren't in it at all?
Look, if you're a player for Astana, you have to enjoy the occasion and enjoy what, not losing, of course, but get as much out of the game as possible. You're playing against, you know, a team in a title challenge in the Premier League, and I know that it's not the first team in that title challenge, but you're playing against top quality players. You have to enjoy it, and you have to try and show what you're about.
Guiu has got away from Moroshkin again in the penalty area. The angle is acute, but given that he's on a hat-trick, he's going to go for goal.
Yeah, I don't blame him as such. There may have been better opportunities there. I think Chukwuemeka was in the box about... Yeah, he was marked though, Chukwuemeka. And look, he cut inside, and I don't blame him. As you said, he's on a hat-trick. He just hit it high and wide, and he won't be pleased with that one.
I mentioned the two commentaries that we have later on today. Manchester United in action away to Victoria Plzen in the Europa League, and then Rangers Spurs tonight. Tomorrow we have Championship football on TalkSport 2. It's an exclusive. Derby versus Portsmouth. Jim Proudfoot and the former Liverpool women's striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk will be alongside Hugh Woostencroft for Derby against Portsmouth. We are watching Chelsea lead Astana 2-0 in the UEFA Conference League. Just after the half-hour mark, Chelsea dominant. Both goals credited to Marc Guiu, the 18-year-old Spaniard, one of 4 teenagers in the starting lineup. Interesting to note that the youngest Astana player is 24, and they have a 37-year-old in the lineup as well. So they have a very experienced team, and yet still Chelsea dominating them. Although they do have possession right now as Kalaitsa plays it forward, but again the ball just will not stick for them, partly because of Chelsea and partly because of their own errant play.
Yeah, and look, this is what Gregory Babayan is going to be concerned about. When they get an opportunity like that, they're sloppy and they give it away, and they allow Chelsea to come straight back at them. They just got to try and get a foothold, try and keep some possession.
Chelsea have it, or just about had it, with George on the left edge of the penalty area, but it's won back on that far side and then immediately lost by Vega, who was trying to be too fancy. Now forward come Astana, backed by the cheers of the home fans, who have been relatively quiet so far. Kamara forward, now 30 yards from goal. Charles tees up a shot, and well, it was a very disappointing shot which lands in the heaps of snow behind Philippe Jorgensen's goal. It was a good 10 yards wide.
Yes, it was, but they ended with a shot. It did go high and wide from Charles, but this time they won possession. It was 4v3 at one point there, and they kept hold of it, and they allowed their forward players to get on the ball and try and get a shot off, and he did, but he got it wrong. We know that. But I think, is that the first shot they've had today, I believe?
Yeah, way off the target from Jeffrey Charles, who has 5 goals to his name this year, as a shot comes in at the other end from Chelsea, which is straight at Sison, but immediately the play going from one end to the other. Chelsea are not going to sit back here. They're going to take full advantage, and I guess those players will want to put themselves in a position to say to Enzo Maresca, look, I can deal with high-level football, the ones that don't play very often. I mean, he's got so many players to choose from. Here's Kalaitsa, infield it goes. Amanovic across to the far side. It's kept in by Tomasov, but he has to tread carefully and not slide into the hoarding, and so Chelsea rob Astana of the ball and cross the halfway line. Coming infield to the centre circle now with Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, the former Leicester player. Left-footed, he plays it short, and then a lovely little turn by Tariq George to play it to the left side of the penalty area. Infield comes Chukwuemeka, now Dewsbury-Hall, 25 yards out, play spread to the left again. George waiting for an opportunity, clips the cross in, takes a deflection into the path of Sison.
Yeah, just held on to it a bit too long, George. It was good play by Chelsea to allow him, and he just took that extra 2 touches before he put the ball into the box, and it allowed Astana defenders just to stay there and mark their players, which then Sison just come out and collected it after a slight deflection. What I am noticing is Chukwuemeka is very unselfish. There's a few times that he could have turned and got the shot off himself, but he's being unselfish, he's being the bounce pass, and I think he's getting frustrated that he's not being replicated by other players, and I can see him turning a few now and trying to get a shot off himself, which you wouldn't put it past him.
Victories against Ghent, Panathinaikos, Noah, an 8-0 win, and Heidenheim preceded this game, which Chelsea lead 2-0 with 10 minutes of the first half remaining. To this near side towards Neto. Forogoski gets the ball away, but not for long. Dewsbury-Hall now on the near side. Neto, a yard in from the touchline, comes infield, and then with his white boots on, just calmly with the outside of his left boot, pushes it back to Tosin. And now Disasi. Those defenders have not had a great deal of defending to do. Most of the time they've just been working the ball out from the back, but they might have to be alert now. Tomasov in centre field to the D, onto his left foot, lays it off. Charles, who is not as comfortable on his left as he is on his right, literally passes it back to Jorgensen. You could tell there he didn't want to try it on his left foot, he wanted to get on his right.
Yeah, he certainly did, and Enzo Maresca will not be happy. That's 2 shots in the last couple of minutes, and it's George, that man George, both times, one with his right, one with his right, one with his left. But as you said, Charles on his left foot didn't look as comfortable, although this one was on target and his favoured right foot wasn't on target. But there's some opportunities and they're leaving themselves open. I mean, it's been really easy for Chelsea, and they're leaving themselves far too open at the back, and maybe this is something Enzo Maresca won't be happy with.
Vega has it on the far side for Chelsea. They're attacking the goal away to the right in this first half, leading by 2-0. Forward to Dewsbury-Hall towards this near side. Cuts into centre field and then plays it along the floor to Vega. Further out wide now to George. Back into Vega again, 25 yards out. Raksaki into Chukwuemeka, who's forced to play the ball back. Chelsea will recycle it, start again. You're listening to Astana against Chelsea in the Europa Conference League, live on Talk Sport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. Neto to the edge of the penalty area, right-hand angle. Guiu back down the line to Neto again. On his left foot, it's a fair way out for a shot. He's looking for an opening. Chelsea come back this way once more. At the moment, Astana can't get the ball. Neto, infield. Achimpong strides past 1, 2 and 3 Astana players before eventually trying a shot. The defender even wants to score.
Lovely play, glides past players, as you said, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 players. Achimpong just glided past, made it look relatively easy, but just got his final shot blocked. But it's lovely play from the defender.
Chelsea have it with Achimpong on the near side. Now Neto, left-footed, he goes way back into centre field to Disasi, who moves forward, and he tries to thread it through. It's going to fall eventually to Chukwuemeka. He strikes it, and through the legs of Moroshkin, and via the hand of Sison, Chelsea win a corner.
I mean, Sison's playing particularly well this half, and his team are 2-0 down, but he's been under a lot of pressure this time, Chukwuemeka. As I said, he could have played Guiu in there, but he didn't. He decided to hit the shot himself, and rightly so. Took a slight deflection, but good reaction by Sison to save at the near post.
we have two championship commentaries on Saturday. We've got the one on Friday night between Derby and Portsmouth. We'll also have Preston Leeds as a TalkSport exclusive, and then Coventry Hull, TalkSport 2 exclusive. Both of those at the same time, 12:30 on Saturday. At the moment, though, we are in Kazakhstan, where Kieran Dewsbury-Hall takes a corner kick, headed down and headed in, and Renato Vega has made it 3-0 to Chelsea. It was as straightforward as it comes from a corner kick. Dewsbury-Hall literally planted it on the edge of the 6-yard area in the middle, and unchallenged Vega just headed it into the corner of the net.
So easy, as you said. I mean, it's unacceptable defending by Astana. Dewsbury-Hall with a lovely corner, puts it right where he wants to, dead centre on the 6-yard line. No one, well, there was a slight challenge on Vega, but it's unacceptable defending. Too easy, and a lovely header in the end. He's got to get that on target, and he heads it into the bottom, his bottom right-hand corner. Lovely connection. It looks like Seisen is not happy with his defenders, but there's an argument. Could he have come out there as well? It's too easy, 3-0, and deserved again.
And a second goal of the UEFA Conference League for Renato Vega, the 21-year-old Portuguese left-back. As we move into the final 5 minutes of the first 45, it's been a cruise. I mean, they've flown here, Chelsea, but this has been a cruise.
You know what? I don't even think they've got out of second gear, maybe third at times. It's been easy. There's a couple of opportunities. Charles had a couple of shots, but no trouble whatsoever for Jorgensen in the Chelsea goal. And look, if you're one of the young the substitutes, you're looking now thinking, right, you're warming up in front of Enzo Maresca. Get me on the pitch. Let me have some minutes.
I'm sure he will, if they hold on to this commanding lead. I don't mean to be too critical of Astana, but they don't look like they've got a midfield.
No, look, they're playing against the top side. We know that. We know it was always going to be hard. We know that they beat FC Noah 8-0 Chelsea, and it's heading that way at the moment. If they continue the way they are, they could. But as you said, they're cruising. They're keeping possession. They must be late 70% possession maybe. I've not seen much come back from Astana, and it's comfortable. They're all going to be looking to get on the score sheet now, Chelsea forwards.
Chukwuemeka on the edge of the area into Guiu, who's on a hat-trick. Scored 2 early goals. He tries to find Dewsbury-Hall. Tomasov takes it away and then finds that he can't go any further. One back just outside the area by Neto. He's got 2 Astana players for company, and in the end he concedes the foul, and it's going to be a free kick to Astana. And it was Amanovic who has won that free kick. Do you expect that Maresca might make several changes at the break, or just sort of sprinkle them in as the game goes on?
Yeah, I don't know whether he'll make any at the break. As you said, I think he'll give it another 10-15 minutes, maybe get 1 or 2 more goals up, and then make a few changes. It would be nice to see some of the new players, the young players, come on at half-time, but normally they give it, 55 an hour. But I mean, we go back to the lack of midfield from Astana. It's because they're literally all playing in defence, apart from, I'd say, Charles up front, that is trying to create an outlet. Everyone else is just getting behind the ball and trying to... It's damage limitation, I think, at this point.
They've won 12 of their last 13, unbeaten at home in all competitions of Astana. They scored 34 goals and conceded only 6 before this game. It just shows the difference in level between an English Premier League team and a Kazakhstan Premier League side. And this isn't even Chelsea's first team. Astana coming forward down the far side away to our left. The cross comes in. Kamara was waiting for it. Chelsea's young players deal with it initially, although it's going to come back again. Vorogovsky has it on this near side, down the line for Kamara, trying to get the better of Achimpong. Vorogovsky offers himself down the left. Chelsea leading 3-2 as we approach half-time on TalkSport 2. 2 more commentaries to come in Europe tonight. Victoria Plzen against Manchester United, and then Rangers against Tottenham as the cross comes in. It's away by Disasi. Dewsbury Hall, 1 or 2 Astana fans were crying for a penalty, but the referee was in close attendance. Amanovic got on this near side now. Astana, it might be the longest they've held the ball for in this first half.
Yeah, I think it is, and Disasi had to get that right, by the way. The cross came in, Charles tried to get in front of him, and as he was clearing, if he just got his toe there, it'd have been a definite shout for a penalty, but Disasi not had much to do, defended really well.
Now the ball is out on the far side, at the corner of the penalty area, with Marin Tomasov onto his left foot, gets in a shot and finds the far corner. Out of nothing, Astana have pulled a goal back in the final minute of the first half, and it's their top scorer in 2024, the Croatian Marin Tomasov, who struck it. And I have to say, it was a really well taken goal. Astana 1, Chelsea 3.
Wow, didn't see this coming, absolutely not. I thought Chelsea would just see out the half, and Tomasov with an unbelievable strike, cutting on his left foot, and it was a wonderful strike that hit the post, the far post. He cuts inside, questionable defending, allowing him to get inside. I think it was it Vega that allowed him to come inside, and he's hit a lovely left-footed effort. He struck and curled, hit the inside of the far post. I mean, Jorgensen had absolutely no chance. And what is probably their second shot on target had nothing to do. Chelsea find themselves 3-1 now.
As we move into 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half.
I tell you what, Mike, sorry, he won't be making changes now.
But it's lifted the fans. You can tell the noise levels have increased. They weren't expecting it either, going by the nature of this first half, because Chelsea have been in complete control until that point. They are in control still, but they weren't expecting their opponents to score. So just over a minute left of this first period as it goes forward to Vega, who scored the third Chelsea goal. Guiu can't get there. It goes out to the far side to Tariq George, back down the line for Vega again. Midway inside the Astana half, now to the edge of the area on the left. Chukwuemeka back into Vega, cut out by Astana. So certainly will lift their spirits going into the break.
Yeah, it certainly will. And look, you've got to question the defending, allowing him. It was a little bit easy. I think it was Vega, Renato Vega, who scored the third goal for Chelsea. It's allowed him to come into his left foot, just left his leg flailing in case there could be a penalty. And it was just a little bit too easy. I think that's what's going to disappoint Enzo Maresca. And I'm sure that when you have not much to do as defenders, it's tough. You have to be switched on, and they certainly wasn't then.
Ball is now on this near side with Dewsbury Hall. Chelsea with his 2-goal cushion now. It was a 3-goal cushion, which is likely to be the difference as we go into the break. A victory would mean 5 wins out of 5 with 1 more game to play, and would almost certainly put them through to the round of 16 as one of the seeded clubs. Vega out to the far side. We've had the 2 minutes of added time, and right on cue, referee Jablonski blows his whistle. A half which ended with a goal from Marin Tomasov, a really well taken goal, but prior to that it was all Chelsea, who scored twice in the first quarter of the game. Both goals credited to Mark Guiu. The first one, he ran in from the right and poked it into the near post. The second one, he met across from Pedro Neto, putting pressure on both the goalkeeper and defender Miroshkin. And then Renato Vega headed in a very straightforward corner 5 minutes before the break. It has been pretty much all Chelsea, Darren Ambrose, but how much hope does that give Astana?
A glimmer of hope. I don't think Astana expected to even score tonight, but look, it was a wonderful goal. It was a lovely strike by Tomasov, but I think it's probably changed the half-time team talk in terms of Enzo Maresca. I think he's not going to be happy with that. I don't think he'll be making any substitutions in the next 10-15 minutes, and he's going to basically say, get out there and finish this off.
Half-time in Almaty in Kazakhstan. Astana 1, Chelsea 3.
Mike, Darren, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, Chelsea may be a long way from home, but they are absolutely cruising in Kazakhstan. Second half action on the way here on TalkSport 2. You're listening to the Europa Conference League live with the Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs.
TalkSport 2, official broadcast partner of the EFL. Europa Conference League live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
NFL fans, there's a new way to watch your favorite teams.
Feliz Navidad!
On December the 25th at 5 p.m. GMT, the Christmas games will stream live on Netflix.
And it's good!
Your Christmas day will be complete with the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens versus Houston Texans, live on Netflix. You won't want to miss it.
You know, I really love your...
Are you listening? Because Etsy has original gifts to make everyone feel heard. So let's try that again.
You know, I really love your gold droplet earrings.
Perfect. Now fast forward to the gifting.
How did you know?
Shop Etsy for personalised jewellery, custom artwork, vintage pieces, home decor and more. For original gifts that say, I get you. Etsy has it.
We're reaching a dramatic climax to the festive season. She's checked out the Christmas tree formation. The kids' presents are there. But where's the husband's gift? Is there still time? She's looking at skullshaver.co.uk. Will it be the silver, the platinum, or the gold Skullshaver Pitbull Pro? He wants a close shave, and let me tell you, it doesn't get closer. She strikes, and yes, she's back to winner. Maybe he'll buy her a Skullshaver Butterfly Pro and make her feel like a lioness. Get to skullshaver.co.uk today.
Merry Christmas, my love.
Merry Christmas, Mum.
Merry Christmas, Mummy.
Happy New Year!
From the first mobile phone call to the first text message, here's to 40 years of Christmas on Vodafone, the nation's network. The Nations Network, Vodafone UK, supporting the nation since 1984. Learn more at vodafone.co.uk/network.
We're into extra time for PPI, and Harkus Parker could still get you the win. If you had a loan with PPI and didn't make a claim or were denied, there's still a chance to reclaim your money. Harkus Parker is the commercial litigation dream team you need on your side to recover what's due to you. And it's completely no win, no fee. Plus, they'll do the fancy footwork to help you reclaim exactly what you're owed. Time to end PPI once and for all. Contact Harkus Parker now by texting PPI for free to 66777.
Next Saturday night, get ringside in Riyadh as the Gypsy King faces Usyk. Will it be repeat or revenge? And to celebrate, TalkSport and DAZN are giving you the chance to win the ultimate fight night setup. Enter now at talksport.com/competitions and get ready to go the distance to win on Friday at Drive, courtesy of TalkSport and DAZN. Watch Usyk vs Fury 2, December 21st, live on DAZN. Buy the pay-per-view now at dazn.com/boxing with no subscription required. Passion, heartbreak, glory, despair, triumph.
Fantastic strike. The Europa Conference League. Brilliant reaction on TalkSport 2.
Vidra able to control the ball. He skips away from one challenge. Oh, what a finish! Matej Vidra!
You already knew it. It will be a long journey, but we want to win. We will lose one game is really hard for everybody.
Traore gets a beautiful flick here. Could be a chance out for the cross for Højlund! And that's a third goal for Manchester United. He's off and running as a Manchester United manager, but there is work to do. 3 points for the Reds, a big photo blip.
I would have expected more from Ruud Mamorin coming in because
Really?
Yeah, I would have.
I think what you've got to have at that football club is a character. And I think this guy now, the one thing I think he's got is character.
Victoria Pilsen away from home.
Well, it's not a given. They're going to win that game.
I think they're going into this game expecting to win, and it's still a big game for them.
When you are in Manchester United, you have to win games. We have to win something, somewhere.
Good afternoon, thanks for joining us on TalkSport 2. I'm Ollie Klink. It's currently Astana 1, Chelsea 3 in the Europa Conference League. The second half is on the way very soon. Following this game, though, Manchester United travel to the Czech Republic to take on Victoria Pilsen. Let's hear from the Manchester United manager, Ruben Amorim, who's been speaking ahead of the game. He says the club's vision hasn't been affected by the shock departure of sporting director Dan Ashworth. Ashworth left the role on Sunday after just 159 days following their 3-2 Premier League defeat to Nottingham Forest. Ruben Amorim, though, says football is a cut-and-thrust industry.
The first thing I want to say that since the first day I felt great support from the ownership and for Omar, from Dan also, from Jason. So and Dan was part of that, and I'm really I felt a really support from them also. But this is football, and sometimes these things happen with players, with coaches. I know that is not the best situation, but the important thing is that we continue in our way. The path is really clear for everybody, and I think this can happen in football.
Let's bring in your commentary team for that game later on. The former Chelsea defender Scott Minto alongside your match commentator Alex Crook. Now, Crookie, you of course moonlight as our chief football correspondent as well. More upheaval off the field for Manchester United. We've heard there what Ruben Amorim thinks about the sacking of Dan Ashworth. What do you think?
Moonlighting, by the way. I thought that was my main job. Always nice to speak to you, Ollie. What do I think about Dan Ashworth?
You know him well. You know him very well.
I don't think it will affect Ruben Amorim too much. It wasn't Dan Ashworth who appointed him. That was one of the issues, as I understand, that Ashworth felt he should have more say in Eric Ten Hag's replacement. He'd have gone for Gareth Southgate, most probably, Eddie Howe, Graham Potter or Thomas Frank on his list, but it was Omar Barada and Dave Brailsford between them with the help of Jason Wilcox who recruited Amorim. So nothing changes there, and Scott will tell you that football players can be very selfish. They're not going to be too worried about who the sporting director is unless it has a direct implication on them, and Dan Ashworth wasn't really in situ long enough for that to be the case. So I don't think there'll be any issues there. From an optics perspective, and I've said this on TalkSport this week, I think it's a really poor look from Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe at a time when they're making redundancies throughout the football club, when they're slashing Christmas bonuses, when they're increasing ticket prices for kids to 66 quid a pop, when they fired Sir Alex Ferguson from his lucrative ambassadorial contract, to then spend all that money getting Dan Ashworth and to dispense with his services after only 5 months, I think is really poor.
Scott, all sorts going on off the field, but what have you made of Ruben Amorim's start on the pitch so far on Old Trafford? Because it's been mixed results. Have you seen any sense, though, that there's an idea there? There's at least signs of an identity?
Well, before I go on to that, I would say if they were able to take away the free bar that Cookie has at TalkSport as part of his contract, then he wouldn't be happy with that at all. But that's clean and laminated in.
That's non-negotiable, I think, Scott.
Absolutely, that's the first thing his agent goes in and bowls in and asks for. No, what have I seen? Look, I think he's said all along, hasn't he? It's going to take time. There's going to be pain. You know, he's rotated a lot. He's getting to know the players. The players are getting to know the system. You know, he's used the word mythology. He's changing that, the way they play, the way they press. So he needs all the players fit, but with the injury problems they've had, that's very, very difficult. You know, Mount, Maguire, Shaw, Euro, Malacia, just to name a few. You know, there's so many things to do. It's only like turning around the Titanic at this moment in time. And we know that good managers have come in and, look, the way that the modern media, social and otherwise, is everyone's going to be judged on the next game and the next game, but he and the hierarchy have got to look towards the long term. What have I seen? I've seen a change of system. I've seen him try to implement, you know, that pressing high, but because of the rotating at all, at this moment in time, it's difficult to say, look, he's got his best 11. Where you look at Chelsea, what Maresca has done, you know, even in pre-season, he worked with that core small squad, and you know, quite early on within the first 4 or 5 games a pattern seemed to emerge, and 11 seemed to emerge, and I think it's really important for Amorim to try and get that 11. But until then, it's going to take time. And you look at tonight's game, it's going to be a very interesting one because, they are where they are. Now, you talk about rotation. What type of side does he pick with City ahead at the weekend? But we've got Victoria Pilsen, who are on the same amount of points and are desperate to try and get into the top 8 as well to avoid the playoffs. So it's a really fascinating game this evening.
It is indeed, and I'm looking forward to your company a bit later on. Alex Scott, thank you very much. We'll bring you the team news for that game very shortly here on TalkSport 2 as well. But so far there's a game going on in the Europa Conference, and so far in Kazakhstan for Chelsea, it's been easy street.
Giu gets away and into the penalty area, getting closer to goal and prodding it beyond the reach of Seisen to give Chelsea the lead after 14 minutes. Neto has it on this near side, Chelsea right, heading towards the penalty area, now into it, crosses in near post, oh, and it's gone in at the near post due to the pressure of Giu. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall takes a corner kick, headed down and headed in, and Renato Vega has made it 3-0 to Chelsea. Marin Tomasov onto his left foot, gets in a shot and finds the far corner. Out of nothing, Astana have pulled a goal back.
The comeback isn't on, is it? Astana with that late goal at the end of the first half, but Chelsea in cruise control in Kazakhstan. Before we bring you the second half of that game, Alex Crook has the all-important team news ahead of Manchester United against Victoria Pilsen. Alex, what can you tell us?
Well, the big news is in the week that he's linked with a move away from Old Trafford. Marcus Rashford returns to the starting lineup. It's a much-changed team from the one that lost at home to Forest at the weekend, but still a strong lineup by Ruben Amorim. Tiro Malacia also comes in, as he revealed in the pre-match press conference yesterday. Joshua Zirkzee is preferred to Rasmus Højlund, leading the line up front, while Casemiro comes into the centre of midfield with both Kobbie Mainoo and Manuel Ugarte rested. There's also a return to the back three for Noussair Mazraoui. So Onana is the goalkeeper. The three in front of him, Mazraoui, De Ligt and Martinez. Dalot and Malacia are the wing-backs. Fernandes drops deeper into midfield alongside Casemiro. And then a front three of Ahmad, Rashford and Zirkzee. Of course, Ahmad, more often than not since Amorim came in, has been used as a wing-back, so he gets a chance to play slightly further forward this evening.
Crookie, thank you very much indeed. Live coverage of Manchester United's trip to the Czech Republic to play Victoria Pilsen will follow us here on TalkSport 2. At the moment, though, it's Astana 1, Chelsea 3. Let's bring back in your team for that game, including the former Newcastle midfielder Darren Ambrose. Darren, just before this second half gets underway, who out of those Chelsea youngsters so far has impressed you the most? We've got the more established names in that Chelsea lineup, but who out of those players trying to make it an impression has caught your eye so far?
Yeah, of course, Giu. A couple of goals, albeit the second one is a bit dubious. I think it did come off of the back of the defender, but he's got a couple of goals, been working hard. I've been impressed with Raksaki in the middle, of course, and you know, Achimpong, I think, has defended reasonably well. He had a fantastic run forward as well. The goalkeeper just saved. I think they've all done well. I think they'll be disappointed to concede right at the very end. It's probably changed Enzo Maresca's half-time team talk, but I think they can all be proud of the attitude they've showed in the first half.
And the second is on the way. You're listening to the Europa Conference League live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. At the moment, Chelsea heading for 5 wins from 5 in the Europa Conference League, despite a long-haul trip out to Kazakhstan. The players making their way back out onto the field. So let's rejoin your commentary team, the former Palace midfielder Darren Ambrose, alongside your match commentator Mike Sewell.
Thank you, Ollie. Welcome back to Almaty, is where Astana are playing their matches this season due to their Astana Arena getting some much needed work done. They don't play every single game here at the National Stadium. They do play some of the games against some of the teams with less crowds at the smaller stadium in Almaty, but certainly for the arrival of Chelsea they'll be playing here, and there is going to be some movement from the Astana bench at the start of the second half. I think it's just going to be the one change. Chelsea look to be unchanged for the start of the second half. Mark Guillou, who's got 2 of the goals, will certainly be looking for his hat-trick. The change by Astana is going to see Barnes Osei come on. He's replacing Alexa Amanovic, who was actually booked in that first half. And Chelsea are actually making one change, and they've taken off Pedro Neto and brought on Ato Ampar, who makes his senior debut, the 18-year-old who plays regularly for the under-21s. He was a key player in the under-18s last season that won Premier League South. So Ato Ampar makes his debut in the cold of Kazakhstan, and it's the home team, FC Astana, who get the second half underway in all yellow, attacking the goal away to the right. Chelsea in a change strip of all black with pink and yellow trim, and they have this 3-1 lead, a deserved 3-1 lead. They could have been more goals to the good, and should maybe have not conceded that goal, albeit it was a good goal by Marin Tomasov. Let's see how this pans out in the second half, Darren, because in the first it was all Chelsea until that goal.
Yeah, it certainly was, and again they'll be disappointed to concede, but it was a lovely goal by Tomasov right at the very end of the first half, and I think it would probably been pre-planned, Pedro Neto to get half of the match being suspended for the weekend's game. I think just get 45 minutes, keep some minutes into your legs, and it'll be intriguing and nice for Ampar to come on and play some minutes, and let's see what he can do.
Ato Ampar is, like Neto, a winger, so he's going to be playing on that far side, the Chelsea right. I'll go through the 2 lineups in a moment as Dewsbury Hall heads towards the edge of the Astana penalty area. Ampar almost loses his footing at the angle of the box. It's away to our left on the far side of the field. Eventually, though, Astana won it back, and Kamara's after it, along with Dewsbury Hall, and Kamara's got the better of him, and he almost sets Jeffrey Charles through. Had it not been for Tosin, that ball would have made it to the Astana striker.
I mean, it was magnificent defending from Tosin. If, as you said, if he misses that, he's in one-on-one, Charles. So it was another frustrating bit of play by Chelsea to allow that to happen.
Chukwuemeka now heading towards the edge of the Astana area. Guillou, no room for a shot, pushes it to the left, inside the box now. George trying to manoeuvre for space for a shot. He's got 4 Astana players in front of him. Now Chukwuemeka left near the dead ball line, but his pass is straight to an Astana player, and eventually it's put out of play by Tariq George. One thing I've noticed about the players, you know, when you walk on ice or a slippery surface, and you kind of walk very sort of gingerly. A lot of the players, Dewsbury Hall a minute ago was running back for the ball, and he was running in that fashion.
Yeah, and there was a few moments in the first half that was the case as well, Mike. And I think you can see the way the pitch is, and you know, it was quite wet in the first half, and maybe the freezing conditions has made it quite hard and be hard to manoeuvre around on the pitch, as we've seen.
George now for Chelsea, away to the left, just outside the area, cut out by the substitute, Osei, and now Tomasov towards the far side of the field. Astana, if I have a moment, I'll get through the 2 lineups as it's now played deep to the far side. Vorogovsky picks it up. And now Kamara, midway inside Chelsea territory, towards the far side. Osei to Tomasov, the goal scorer, blocked by a Chelsea player, and away come the visiting team. Astana, they just made, prior to the kickoff, in other words, they made 2 changes to their team from their last game, which was against Vitoria. They have Sison in goal, Bartolek, Kajakolovas, Maroshkin and Vorogovsky at the back. Amanovic has now departed. Osei is in his place. He's alongside Kalitsa. Then it's Mbong, Tomasov and Kamara behind Charles. Chelsea now don't have any players that started the game against Tottenham, as the shot comes in from distance by Vega. Pedro Neto was the only one to start the game tonight that played against Spurs at the weekend. So Chelsea have Jorgensen in goal, Disasi the captain, Tosin, Achimpong and Vega at the back. And then it's Ampar, Chukwuemeka and Dewsbury Hall in the centre, with Raksaki and George supporting Guiu. Camera has it for Astana, left of the penalty area, twisting one way, then the other, left foot into the arms of Jorgensen, but they're showing more intent than they did in the first half, Astana.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's been a good opening 5 minutes this second half by Astana. They're really taking it to Chelsea. I mean, they have to, of course, because they need the result. I think they were 23rd in the Conference League before the match kicked off today. And yeah, if it wasn't for Tosin earlier, Charles would have been in one-on-one, and then Kamara causing a few problems down the left-hand side. I expect Chelsea to get a grips of this second half relatively soon as well.
Temperature seems to be dropping. It's around about -10 degrees. 5 minutes into the second half in Almaty. Astana 1, Chelsea 3. Mark Guiu with 2 goals and Renato Vega with the other for Chelsea, who have it on the halfway line but are being harassed a lot more by Astana than they were in the first half. And it's the home team who send the ball forward, comfortably dealt with by Josh Achimpong, and then up to the halfway line for Vega. Lays it down the line. Chukwuemeka to the left to find George. Many of these players know each other well from playing in the under-21s and the under-18s for Chelsea. Familiar with styles of play. Here's the substitute, Ampar, on his debut, gets to the dead ball line and cuts it back. Not enough power to reach Chukwuemeka, and it's out to Kamara on the far side. And then back into the feet of Kalaitsa. Chelsea certainly not having the space and time that they had in the first half. And away come Astana now into the centre circle, striding forward, 2 to the right. One of them is Tomasov, the goal scorer. Then on the overlap as Tomasov goes for goal. Another really well struck shot with his left foot, and it needed the right hand of Philip Jorgensen to palm it out for a corner.
Yeah, it was a lovely strike from Tomasov there, and they found themselves 3v3 once again, Chelsea. And we know Tomasov likes to come in on his left foot. We see that in the first half. It was a wonderful strike. Jorgensen just batted it away with the palm of his right hand. It was a good save.
Corner kick, which Tomasov has gone over to the far side to take. In out-swinging left footer. I thought one of the defenders could have headed that in there. He left it. It's picked up by Bartolek, who clips it back into the 6-yard area. Routine in the end for Jorgensen, but in terms of the play, they're restoring a bit of parity here, Astana.
Yeah, the half-time team talk from Babian's obviously worked. They have come out, they're really taking it to Chelsea, and as we just spoke about, Mike, they have to try and get something out of this game to have the best opportunity of qualification, and they really are. But look, it's comfortable for Chelsea. It was in the first half. Apart from that, Tomasov, they're not creating too much, and it was a relatively comfortable save from Jorgensen. But Chelsea have to try and get a foothold in this second half, because yeah, as you said, since half-time it has been all Astana.
And they have it now on this near side, on the touchline. Eventually down goes Kajikolovas, and Astana in possession of the ball early in this second half, where Chelsea lead by 3-1. They were 3-0 up and absolutely cruising until Marin Torresov struck that goal just before half-time. And the home team have definitely upped their game in the second half. It's going to be a free kick on this near side, which Carlo Bartolek will take from the touchline. It's a poor delivery, although Chelsea aren't that convincing in the initial clearance, before Dewsbury Hall then sends it over the top for Guiu to get on the end of. 2 defenders there. Asai was the one who swept up in the end. But Astana are seeing a lot of the possession.
Yeah, they certainly are, but it's a lovely ball by Dewsbury Hall there, allowing Guiu to try and get him behind. But I think you're right in terms of the conditions. Few people losing their footing. I think Ampar did down the right-hand side. Guiu just there, look at the ground, but they're in again, Astana.
Tomasov from the right side, again the cross is too close to Jorgensen, but this will be of concern to Enzo Maresca. Chelsea are not having the control that they had in that first half, and Grigory Babayan, the head coach of Astana, will be very pleased with his way his team have approached things since the break. It's worth mentioning that Astana have already qualified for next season's UEFA Conference League, or at least the qualifying stages, because their season is already over and they finished runners-up to Kairat. The season runs from March to November. They were just 1 point behind Kairat in the end, losing out on the league title, which they've won 7 times in the past. The club itself is only 15 years old.
I mean, that's a fantastic record. Winning it 7 times in 15 years, it's fantastic, but you can tell there's a real difference in quality.
Chelsea coming forward, George almost getting in there. Good defensive work by Astana as he ran into the penalty area. Sliding tackle. 10 minutes played on TalkSport 2, where you're listening to UEFA Conference League football from Kazakhstan. Astana 1, Chelsea 3 is the current score. Enzo Maresca is in conversation with 1 or 2 of his substitutes. 8 of the 9 have never played for the first team before. The only player to have played for the senior side is Harvey Vale, who was on loan at Bristol Rovers last season. He may well be introduced at some point, but the other 8 have not featured at all before for the first team. They've been on the bench maybe, but not on the pitch. Chukwuemeka trying to squeeze his way between 2 Astana players. Ibong was one of them. I hadn't actually mentioned Ibong. It's the first time I've said Ibong's name in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Astana players are working extremely hard, and you know, this opening 10-11 minutes of the second half, they are coming into the game. But I mean, if you're one of those young substitutes, as I said in the first half, when it's 3-0 up, you're thinking 1 or 2 more and you'll be comfortable to making changes. But now, while the game's going to stay like this, maybe another 10-15 minutes, another goal or 2 from Chelsea, and then you'll see some new faces.
Dewsbury Hall down the far side, the Chelsea right, can't keep it in Chelsea's possession, and Kamara has won it back and he's kept it in play down the far side, but he's got 2 Chelsea players in front of him. In the end, Dewsbury Hall is adjudged to have committed the foul, and Astana get the free kick. Chelsea can't get going in the second half.
No, they can't. I thought it was harsh. I don't think that was a foul, in all honesty. I think Kamara tried to cut inside Dewsbury Hall, and there's nothing else he could do except turn and stand his ground. It was a bit of a harsh free kick to give away, but Kamara's causing some problems down the left-hand side for Astana, and they're winning some free kicks high up the pitch.
This one is out wide on the far side, midway inside the Chelsea half. It's swung into the penalty area, inadvertently headed out by an Astana player and not able to be kept in on the far side, so Chelsea will have a throw-in. We're almost at the hour mark. This 2-goal cushion that Chelsea have, if they keep it, it'll retain their 100% record in this competition and all but put them through to the round of 16. They're currently top of the standings. As for Astana, they're just above the elimination line, so a defeat here would put them at risk of going out of the competition. They've got Apoel of Cyprus away from home in their last game. It'll be much warmer there, Darren.
It certainly will. It'll be a tough game though for them, so anything today that they could have got would have been an absolute bonus for them. It would be a great achievement if they can somehow get qualification. If they can keep the goal score, the goal difference quite low, like it is at the moment, it will be a bonus for them.
They have it again inside the Chelsea half. Coming forward is Kalitsa, who tries his luck from 25 yards out, strikes the back of a Chelsea player. It's going to sting on a night like this one. Minus 10 degrees. You can almost see the pitch whitening very gradually.
Yeah, you can see it freezing up, and it's always difficult coming out in conditions like this, being so cold. I've never played in temperatures this cold, but coming out at half time, trying to get warm again, trying to get your legs going, it is tough. And when you're used to it, or relatively used to it like Astana, they've handled it a lot better, particularly coming out after half time.
One change made by each of the head coaches. Ato Ampa, the only one for Chelsea so far. Dewsbury Hall goes all the way back to his goalkeeper Jorgensen, pushes it towards this near side. Jorgensen dressed in all orange, They used to use orange balls, didn't they, in wintry conditions? Do they still use the orange one, or is it still...
It's yellow now.
It's all yellow, isn't it? Yeah. Here's Assay on the near side. Bartolek trying to keep it, but Chelsea doing a really good job, and now opening things up down centre field with Dewsbury Hall looking around for players in front of him. The one is Chukwuemeka, who is not fouled according to the referee. He looked towards Sven Jablonski to see if he was going to get a free kick. Chelsea have it back though. Vega, 5 yards outside the penalty area towards the right, return ball. Chukwuemeka, saved by the goalkeeper Sison. George with the rebound, off the line by an Astana player. And eventually Tomasov can clear. Well, I say clear, 2 attempts at getting it away, and it didn't actually go anywhere. But that was a good move by Chelsea. Chukwuemeka heavily involved, and then Tariq George had a chance as well.
Yeah, lovely play all round there. Chukwuemeka with a lovely 1-2, neat, tidy in the box, got it onto his right foot, tried to just lift it over Sison, good save, come back out, and George just couldn't quite finish it off. And I think it was Maroshkin in the end that we think the second goal came off, ended up clearing it off the line. It was good defending by Astana player.
An hour played, Astana 1, Chelsea 3. This game is brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football, and that is what we're watching here, the UEFA Conference League. 2 more matches to come on TalkSport 2 following this game. Victoria Plzen against Manchester United from the Europa League. Alex Crook and Scott Minto, your commentary team, and then on TalkSport, Rangers Spurs in the Europa League. Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce alongside presenter Hugh Woosencroft. So 2 more games in Europe to come this evening. We've got Championship football on Friday and Saturday. Derby Portsmouth, Preston Leeds, Coventry Hull. Game day with Adrian Durham, the home of football. And we even travel to watch the away teams. Here's Disasi forward for Chelsea. Guiu tried to play it back to him and he gets it. Now Dewsbury Hall, left-footed, moves away from his marker, out to the left on this near side of the penalty area. George eventually shoots, but it just took a deflection which took the sting out of the shot.
Yeah, he's getting into the game, George. He's playing well the last 5-10 minutes. And like you said, he's cutting in onto his right foot, and the deflection did take that power away and allowed Sison just to take control of the ball. But Chelsea are starting to get into this game. Disasi with a lovely pass into Dewsbury Hall just now, just to open the pitch up and get the Astana players facing their own goal, because the first 15 minutes of this half they've really taken it to Chelsea.
Disasi has it, captaining the team for the night. The £38.5 million signing from Monaco at the start of last season. Axel Disasi. Chukwuemeka towards the right now. Halfway inside the Astana half, Dewsbury Hall attempts to find Amper down the line. Astana have lost it again. Maybe they've flattered to deceive a little bit at the start of the second half of Astana, because Chelsea beginning to, you say, take the game again, and they're coming forward. Here's Chukwuemeka to the D, onto his right foot, just finding too many yellow shirts in the way. Eventually he does get a shot away, a low one straight at Sison.
Yeah, they're starting to take control again, Chelsea, and yeah, look, they've huffed and puffed Astana. They started this half well. Chelsea's, I'm not going to say soaked up the pressure as such, but they've handled everything that Astana have given in the second half, which isn't much, but it's better than they were in the first half, and Chelsea look to be taking control. But they don't want anything sloppy. They don't want this game to go to 2-3, and it will allow Astana more confidence. And we're getting to that stage that the Enzo Maresca might be looking at making some fresh substitutions.
Chelsea, in terms of this trip, are trying to treat it like they're still in the UK time zone. Just a 24-hour trip. They trained at Cobham, then flew here, had dinner, went to bed, still in the UK time zone, and they're heading back not long after this game. They're going to arrive back about 6 o'clock in the morning in London, and it's fair to say that other than if he has to, most if not all of these players may not feature at the weekend. There may be one or two on the bench, but that was the reason for having wholesale changes for such a long journey.
I suppose that's the bonus of having a lot of money, a lot of depth in the squad, which Chelsea have, because like you said, they're going to play a completely different side at the weekend, and they're going to bring in some absolute quality players, we know that.
Brentford at home on Sunday for Chelsea's 7 o'clock kickoff. As for Astana, they've just got that potentially one game left of the season. Chelsea are in here. Guillou has squared it in towards Vega in the penalty area, but it's cut out by an Astana defender. Now it's with Raksaki in centre field, back towards the halfway line, and his captain Disasi. Dewsbury Hall, socks halfway down his lower legs. Surprising somewhat in these conditions. They must be warm by now, though. I assume you get warm out there?
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, but you have to run around, of course, and they've been getting a little bit of the run around, as we said. So yeah, they're definitely going to be warm. The substitutions not so much, I'll tell you that.
And possibly Philip Jorgensen as well, who hasn't had a huge amount to do in the Chelsea goal. He's got to stay warm. Forward come Chelsea. Tosin to Chukwuemeka, looking for the pass through the middle towards Guillou. Astana can't hold on to it. Dewsbury Hall now to the far side, the Chelsea right. 20 minutes played in the second half. 3-1 Chelsea lead. The cross is too deep from Ampar, and it goes all the way out for a goal kick to Astana.
Yeah, it's positive. Ampar obviously got this one wrong in terms of the cross. Just put it over the top of the crossbar, but every time he gets the ball, he looks to attack the fullback. Exactly what you want from your wide player coming on. He's got no fear, you can tell. Just got the end product bit there a little bit wrong.
So it's going to be an Astana goal kick away to our left as we move towards the midway point of the second half, and there's now some movement on the Chelsea bench. And it's going to be Carney Chukwuemeka who's going to make way for the aforementioned Harvey Vale, the only one of the substitutes who has played for the first team before. He has some good experience in the Football League last season, primarily with Bristol Rovers. He was also at Hull City, but injury limited his appearances, but he was a regular for the Gas during last season, and that will really help him. Now he's involved with the Chelsea first team. So now Enzo Maresca, all his substitutes, remaining substitutes, have never played for the first team before.
Oh, and I'm telling you, in that situation, if you are one of those young players, you're desperate. Like, I would be warming up in front of Enzo Maresca, desperate to get on the pitch, desperate for some minutes, make my debut in the Europa Conference League.
You'd be exaggerating your lunges, wouldn't you?
100%. I'd be doing little sprints in front of him. was that 5 years ago?
That was in the Europa League, as Ampar tries his luck from the edge of the area, but again it's blocked en route, and it's a comfortable ball for the goalkeeper Seisen. I know we mentioned the fact that he's been wearing a beanie throughout the entire game, but I think you have to let the goal. I mean, I'm surprised Jorgensen's not doing it, because it must be keeping him a lot warmer than if he wasn't wearing one.
I know Jorgensen must be absolutely freezing. Not had much to do. He had one off Tomasov that he saved in this half, and the one in the first half was kind of unstoppable from him, pick of the goals. So yeah, if I'm him, I'd be wrapping up warm.
George, left edge of the penalty area, tries to play it in. Katau, picked up by Raksaki. Now a save for Astana. Pushes it forward. Warmer than if he wasn't wearing one.
I know Jorgensen must be absolutely freezing. If I'm him, I'd be wrapping up warm.
George, left edge of the penalty area, tries to play it in. Katau, picked up by Raksaki. Now a save for Astana. Pushes it forward to Kamara. As just over 15 minutes left of this game. Chelsea heading for a 5th win in 5 Conference League games. They are even at this stage, they would be considered the clear favourites to win this competition. Astana look to counter, but they're surrounded by black-shirted Chelsea players. And Kamara has to go back into centre field. You're listening to Astana against Chelsea in the UEFA Conference League, live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Just over 15 minutes left of this game. Chelsea heading for a 5th win in 5 Conference League games. They are even at this stage, they would be considered the clear favourites to win this competition.
Yeah, of course, I think they were clear favourites before the ball was even kicked in this competition. I think they've got such a fantastic squad, and the way it's going in terms of the domestic league and the Premier League, they're flying in that as well, very much in a title challenge for me. So yeah, it could be a very successful season, this. It could also be an awful one if they all went to pot from now.
He does have a big squad at his disposal, does Enzo Maresca. Remember, it's his first season at the club, having been successful at Leicester, getting them up from the Championship. Referee wants Renato Vega further back down the line to take the throw. He seemed too keen to do that when the 4th official was telling him to move. It's going to be a throw-in. He's gradually working. He's gone back to the same position again and taken the throw.
As you do.
Gio has lost it. Back for Astana now. Tomasov nudged over by Vega, but it's only going to be a throw-in. Victoria Plzen against Manchester United in the Europa League to come on TalkSport 2. It's a 5:45 kick-off. Alex Crook and Scott Minto are limbering up for that one, although they don't need to keep as warm as those players out there in Almaty. And at 8 o'clock, Rangers-Tottenham, again in the Europa League. That's on TalkSport with Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce. Ampar, right edge of the area for Chelsea. Flies as the ball basically is stopped dead. He goes hurtling over the ball, no foul at all. And now Astana trying to work it out from the left-back position through Branimir Kalaitsa. And she's gone out for a throw. And it's not been as lively as the first half was.
No, it's not, and I'm wondering how much the conditions are playing a part. I know we keep talking about it was extremely cold out there, and Chelsea just haven't really got going in this second half, particularly the opening 15 minutes of it.
But they are coming forward now. At the D is George, who strikes it firmly, but straight down the middle. He needed an angle to trouble Sison.
Yeah, he did. I've been impressed with George in this second half. Really positive, attacking the defenders. I mean, he had a few options there to pass the ball, just to lay one off with his teammate, but he decided to go alone. It was a comfortable save in the end from Sison, but I have been impressed with how positive he's been in the second half.
Chelsea are going to make a substitution, and the man who's got two of the goals, the first two goals, Mark Guiu, is coming off. 18-year-old Mark Guiu to be replaced by 17-year-old Shamira Mweuka, known as Shim. He only turned 17 in October, Darren. That makes us feel old.
I mean, it's fantastic for him. It's a great opportunity to show what he's about. A real freshness, a bit of self-belief, see what he can do, see if he can get on the score sheet.
It's his debut. He was on the bench for the Heidenheim and Panathinaikos games, but he now gets, 15 minutes or so in the Chelsea first team. He got 12 goals in 20 appearances for the under-18s last season. So that is why, at the tender age of just 17, he's being accelerated into the first team.
Yeah, of course. He's clearly got an eye for goal. We might get to see that today. I don't think he'll need to warm up too much. He'll be excited to be on this pitch. And I'd like to see him have an opportunity and see what his eye for goal is really like.
Lots of space here inside the Chelsea half for Astana, who are moving into the area on the right. And I have to say that Bartolet was rather too casual with the eventual ball in, because they outnumbered Chelsea on this near side.
Yeah, we're at a point now. I think it was 5v3, and it was Disasi in the end that defended extremely well, just deflecting it for Jorgensen to control. And as you said, Bartolet just picked the wrong option. He could have had a cutback, he could have hit Camara at the back post. In the end, he just tried to slide it across the 6-yard box, allowing Disasi just to deflect it back to Jorgensen. There's real opportunity there.
Chelsea have it with Vega. 11 minutes plus stoppage time remaining on TalkSport 2, where we have more European football to come in the shape of Manchester United, who are away from home in the Europa League. Disasi forward to Raksaki, and now back over to the far side for Achimpong. In from the touchline, Ampar on as a substitute, gets away from his marker, then pushes it forward towards Mweuka, but he couldn't quite get there, and it's back with the goalkeeper Sison again. It must be cold for the coaches down there in temperatures like this. I mean, they're togged up, Enzo Maresca and Gregory Babayan.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got untold amount of layers on under that coat as well. It's a cold, cold one out in Kazakhstan, but their players are used to it, I guess.
Well, Chelsea will be well acclimatised to when we have our winter, not that it would be as severe as that. Here come Astana, looking towards Kamara, but so calmly done by Tosin. He brought the ball down as if it was a feather out of the sky, but they've not cleared their lines, Chelsea. Kamara in the area, left-footed shot, but it's Tosin who makes the block. A flag has gone up. I mean, initially he dealt with it really well, but he wasn't helped out by his teammates.
No, he wasn't. As you said, the control to bring that out of the air when Camara was running down on him. If any mistake, he'd have been in on a one-on-one. Beautiful control, but then not helped by his teammates. Little bit sloppy, and in the end he gave it away, but they just couldn't make nothing out of it. Astana. Last couple of minutes, they're having some opportunities. I think Chelsea need to get back in charge.
Just think, don't you, that like the Tomasov goal at the end of the first half, if Astana were to get something out of a situation like that, it'd be an interesting last few minutes, and it shouldn't be that way. Chelsea have been far too dominant for large portions of the game. They haven't added to their goals in the second half, though. It's 0-0 in second half terms, but they're 3-1 up overall. Here's Harvey Vale. Heavy touch, and also the attendance of Vorogovsky didn't allow him to get any further than he wanted to. Chelsea have Premier League football this weekend. Brentford at home on Sunday. On Saturday, in terms of Premier League football, we've got a TalkSport 2 exclusive. It's not on television in the UK. Arsenal against Everton. Faye Carruthers will be presenting. Ian Danter and Dean Ashton will be at that game. And I'll be with Dean on Sunday at Carrow Road on TalkSport 2. Another exclusive for Norwich against Burnley. Almost feels like we're just seeing out the last 10 minutes or so. We've got 8 plus added time. I don't suppose anybody really wants any added time if you're of a Chelsea persuasion.
No, of course not. And you are right. The game's fizzling out a little bit. I think the substitutions are looking to make an impact. It's not quite happening just yet. I'm certain there's going to be more changes coming up. But yeah, if you're Chelsea, if you're Enzo Maresca, you don't really want added time. You want to get done back on the journey home. But if you're Astana, especially after the last few minutes, the longer the better.
Dewsbury Hall, though, midway inside the Astana half on the near side. Forward towards George, back to Dewsbury Hall, who goes square. 30 yards out in centre field, now a bit further out as Raksaki brings 2 players into play, Achimpong and Vega. You're listening to Astana, Chelsea in the UEFA Conference League, live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. Forward, or at least that was the attempt by Astana. It's staying in on this near side. Dewsbury Hall eventually wins it. Weuka running forward to the left to find George just inside the area, goes for the curler at the far post, can't get it that way because a defender blocks it, and there's a flag on up anyway from the assistant on the far side. It's going to be a free kick to Astana.
Yeah, I think it was running through. I think George was just offside. I mean, we're watching it now. Yeah, he was a good yard or two. It frustrates me why the assistant referee allows the play to continue for that long before lifting your flag, because it was clearly offside, but he did. And I would like to see Miuka just maybe take one on there, take a shot on.
The final of this competition will be played on the 28th of May in the Wrocław Stadium in Poland. Chelsea will be hoping they'll be there. Of course, West Ham have won this competition. They won it 2 years ago. Olympiacos are the current holders. And we're about to see another substitution from Enzo Maresca. And he looks he's going to be handing out another debut to one of his young substitutes. Raksaki to Harvey Vale. Infield to Vega. Now forward, Dewsbury Hall just outside the box. It's opening up. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall all the way through, but it's just been forced wide. And as we said earlier, it's slightly gingerly tiptoes to the dead ball line, and it all comes to nothing.
Yeah, just open up. Miuka making a lovely run for him, allowing the space to open up, and just got the last bit wrong. He just over-touched the last touch of his. It's allowed him, the defenders, to block the attempted shot, which he didn't take in the end. He's just gone off for a corner. It was a glorious opportunity to go for one that he just didn't take.
Substitution to be made by Chelsea. Samuel Raksaki is making way, and on in his place another one of the youngsters wearing number 33, 18-year-old Keanu Dyer. You know a K Dyer from your playing days.
I certainly do, and what a player he was.
This is Keanu Dyer making his Chelsea debut as it's headed away by Astana from the corner. Chelsea still have it. Launched back in, Harvey Vale in the box, back to goal towards the right of the penalty area. Ampar, nice bit of trickery, Ronaldo style on this slippery surface. Vega wants a second goal on the night, goes from about 30 yards out, but it's blocked. Astana looking to break away and catch Chelsea on the counter-attack, but they're not able to do so because Dewsbury Hall has got it back to his goalkeeper. Keanu Dyer actually has been on the bench 6 times before, but never used. So he has plenty of experience of travelling with the first team. Now he's getting his first touches in the senior side.
tell you what, when you're a young player, I was there at Ipswich, and you travel with a team and you don't make the squad, or you don't make the pitch when you're on the bench, you just cannot wait for that first moment of stepping on the field, and it's now happened for Keanu Dyer, and a fantastic achievement.
He might be physically shivering with nerves on any normal day, but in the cold like this, is it a hell of a lot of nervous energy? Let's just hold off for a minute. Tomasov has played the ball in. Kamara's free inside the area, right foot shot, but he's squirmed at it. Has it gone out for a throw or a corner? I think it's gone out, certainly gone off a Chelsea player. Another threat from Astana.
Yeah, it was a threat, and the Chelsea defenders, the arms up as if it was offside. I think it was a good run from Kamara. Good late run that was onside, but he just couldn't get his shot on target.
Marin Tomasov is leaving the field. The Astana captain, who scored what looks like being their consolation goal, a really well taken goal as well by the 37-year-old, and he's replaced by Nazmi Gripshi, the Albanian, just for the final few minutes of this game. 2 minutes, in fact, of normal time. Chelsea leading 3-1 and moving on to 15 points in the UEFA Conference League, unless, of course, there's a miraculous double from Astana in the last few minutes of the match. Chelsea having to defend at the moment. It's a throw in line with the edge of the penalty area. It'll be taken from this near side. Gregory Babayan is orchestrating things from the touchline. The fans are getting behind their team as it's launched in, headed out by Tosin. Back to this near side. Maroshkin. Good work by Mouka, but he can't stop Astana from getting forward. They are all slipping now, even the home team players.
Yeah, the conditions, the pitch looks dreadful at the moment, as you said. There's no boots that you can change to. And we had that situation with Kukurea at the weekend.
Played in by Bartolek from the right, away by Chelsea, but still Astana have it in these closing moments. The final minute now of normal time. Asay launches it down the middle, goes towards the D. Good work by Astana to keep the ball. Now it's with Kalaitsa out to Kamara, who's been quite a lively figure in the second half. Usman Kamara, it's sent in by Kalaitsa, headed towards goal, and there were two, maybe even three unmarked Astana players inside the penalty area.
Yeah, there certainly was. I would say they were offside just by looking at it. I'd say they were going to be offside, but who was it? It was Maroshkin was in there, player coming in behind him, one at the back post. They just couldn't quite make it count.
Chelsea not necessarily living dangerously because they have this two-goal cushion, but it's not being as smooth as it was for much of that first half and parts of this second half. They've been more of a match for them, have Astana.
Yeah, of course, and you said it 10-15 minutes ago that they could take positives, particularly from the second half. Astana, they come out, they started this half really well, and it's 0-0 at the moment in this second half. A couple of minutes added on, and it looks like Chelsea will see this half out. Of course, they're going to win the game, we know that, barring a miracle. But yeah, Astana's, they should be proud of their second half performance.
2 minutes of added time, as Darren mentioned, to come. But don't go anywhere, because we've got Europa League football coming up on TalkSport 2. Victoria Plzen against Manchester United with Alex Crook and Scott Minto. Can Chelsea add a fourth here? Mouka from the edge of the area, and he hasn't wrapped his foot around that one, and it's almost gone out for a throw-in on the far side.
Well, that's one thing he'll be pleased with, that it didn't. It went out for a goal kick. Because when you're in this situation, when you get a bit of stick, bit of banter in the changing room, if you have a shot, I've had many of those to tell you that's gone out for throw-ins. But no, the substitutions have done well. They've come on, not had a massive impact in the game, but not looked out of place whatsoever for both sides, has to be said. Astana substitutions as well. But yeah, we'll be in the final minute of this match, and Chelsea are just going to look to see this out.
Guinea's Usman Kamara has left the field to be replaced by Elkin Astanov. Another one of the Kazakhstan internationals in the Astana team. We've got about 30 seconds left as one of the other substitutes, Gripschi, has it in centre field to Say, who loses it, picked up by Vale. Is there enough time for Chelsea to get forward? Ampar down the right now, heading towards the corner of the penalty area. Clips it ahead of the defender, but it's too heavy a touch. And Kaleitsa can see it out for a goal kick, and that might just be about it. And in fact it is, because referee Jablonski has brought an end to this game. Chelsea winning again. It's 5 wins from 5 in the UEFA Conference League, all down to a dominant first half performance where they scored 3 times, 2 from Mark Guiu and a third, a close range header from a corner by Renato Vega. Marin Tomasov scored the best goal of the night for Astana just before half-time. They were a better team in the second half, Astana. Of course, Chelsea, a few problems, no more goals added, but Chelsea won't care. They've made this 7,000-mile round trip and gone back, and they're going to head back to the UK with another 3 points. And you would say, Darren Ambrose, almost certain qualification for the round of 16.
Yeah, of course, you see that, as I said before, a ball was even kicked, you'd say Chelsea were qualifying, you'd say they'd qualify top of the Conference League, which they're certainly doing so far. So, look, credit to the supporters in particular, a long way to go if this, and then they've come out and their team have done them extremely proud.
Final score then from Almaty in Kazakhstan. FC Astana 1, Chelsea 3.
Mike Sewell, thank you very much indeed. It's time now on TalkSport 2 to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Mr. Darren Ambrose, all the damage done for Chelsea really in that first half, a very comfortable win. Who are you going for?
Look, there were some standout performances, of course. I think Chukwuemeka was very unselfish, and Dewsbury Hall ran himself into the ground. Tyreek George done fantastic in the second half, but look, 2 goals. Mark Guy, he was fantastic all game. The second goal, we don't know if it's going to be given to him. It is at the moment, and he thoroughly deserves it. He was a threat most of the time he was on, so yeah, I'm going to give it to him.
Darren, thank you very much indeed. That was our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Darren, 5 wins from 5 now for Chelsea, and I've got to say, a lovely touch from the club. They've given a commemorative keyring for all the Chelsea fans who made that mammoth trip to Almaty in Kazakhstan for tonight's game. But in terms of this competition, we said it before, didn't we? Is it now embarrassing if they don't go on to win this?
Well, probably, yeah. I'm going to be honest, yes. They're the best team in the tournament, we know that. And as you said, credit to those supporters travelling all that way, and their team turned up with the right attitude. And the second half was a bit disappointing, I know that, but they got the job done in the first half. There's only one team, Fiorentina, maybe the next best team in the tournament, but look, this is football, anything can happen. You turn up on the day, have a bad decision or a man sent off, you could lose the game, but on that showing even today, you'd say that they're definite favourites and they should go on to win this tournament.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Superb work as always from Mike Sewell and Darren Ambrose there. So you just heard Chelsea cruise past Astana in Kazakhstan here on TalkSport 2. But stay put, we're going to bring you live Europa League action next with Manchester United.